All right, what's up, guys and gals? Here we go. CheFPV, ATXRC Productions, Troy, whatever you want to call me, wherever you want to find me on Facebook, YouTube, and anywhere, Twitter, Instagram. Check us out. Check out ZeroGroundFPV.com. It's going to shoot you over to our Facebook page for now, but please check out Zero Ground FPV. New little team. We put together some really cool pilots and some fun. But today, drone, multi-rotor tips, tricks, reviews, and unboxings. That's what we're here about, all right? So, LaForge FPV by CheFPV and UBad on the table. I'm going to quickly tell you, I've been using this thing for months now, since pretty much it came out. I am more than happy with it. More than enough people out there saying how good it is, so I don't need to really tell you. That being said, I am going to show you the module, how I run it, so you can see what I'm talking about when I talk about the Furios FPV one. I run 2 VAS crosshairs most of the time. The only time I don't run this setup is when I'm really flying kind of 360 around myself in an area where I'm kind of in the middle or somewhere where I know I'm going to be flying around where I'm sitting. The reason why I fly this and I like the LaForge setup is it positions the antennas at a point to where I can get 230, 260, somewhere in there degrees of beam width. Each crosshair is putting out about 130 degrees of beam. So that gives me 260 technically, but a little less, probably 230. That's pretty good. And the strength is awesome. I never flinch during a race or during any time that I'm flying out in front of myself with this setup. Never flinch. Do I say that there's static here or there? Absolutely, things happen. 3 guys burn up on you in a corner, it's going to drop a little. You go back behind a bunch of trees, you're going to get a little weakness. You might get that quick switch that kind of gives a quick flutter. Crisp, clean switches with the LaForge is everything that I've ever seen, though. It makes it seem like there's not any artifacts or any problems, but I'm sure there are. But that's just what the results that your mind give you, especially after flying something else that you've been looking and trying to fight through. LaForge has never claimed to be anything else other than innovative. They never made their own 3D printed doors or anything like that. That's why I would probably say that their biggest weakness, it doesn't really come ready to install internally or even externally in a way that is just makes people, I think, feel confident about it. I think that if they included the doors, the way that these 3D printed doors from BMC 3D and Great3D.com include, or that they have, I think that more people would probably find it a little more appealing. I just say they should install them in the doors for people ready to go, and I think that more people would be more confident in it. A couple of things that the LaForge does hands down that the other one just doesn't, nobody else does, is they have a VTX they just released called the LaForge VTX. Power settings, channel settings, LED settings that are keyed to the VTX, all resettable and settable via the infrared module that's in the left side single side module. The LaForge module can be ran biased as a single unit. You don't have to buy both modules. You can buy this module and just use it, and it's pretty much going to outperform any other non-diversity module or receiver out there. It's been shown. Again, go check it out. The LaForge comes with the support. UBad is, warranting these things, is taking them back if something happens. There were some issues with shipments where UBad fixed it. The firmware updates. There's been 3 firmware updates already just in the last 3 months that it's been out. If things change, frequencies change, something happens and some hardware changes happen, maybe, there's going to be things that the LaForge module will be able to outlive other modules that don't have the support. That support comes from CheFPV, the creator of these types of modules. He came up with the architecture of the boards and all the software. He posted it out there, and guess what? Guys like this took advantage of it. Awesome. Good deal. Make some money, no big deal. I wish that you would support the community a little bit and mention Shay's name in your product description. That's about all. I can't hate on you. Shay did pull back some of the support, some of this stuff. He's not really 100% open source anymore. So that's why the LaForge is actually kind of going to be one step up from anything else below it. Is everything based on it is going to be on its own software and kind of going on its own kind of here forward after the initial releases of these things and such. So just know that there's definite differences. The ability to position antennas for me is the biggest difference. It's the only thing that I hold in the highest regard for LaForge. I'm not running the VTXs, so I don't care about the infrared stuff. And if I did, I'd buy the remote anyways. the antenna positioning gives me a wide variety of antenna positions, and people will tell you that no, there is a performance difference and it's better in a system that has dual receivers separated by some distance as opposed to stacked. Now, Furious FPV, I apologize for ever saying that you did not have two receivers in this module. You do. From the pictures you put out and because of all the way that the initial kind of hype was put out, it was marketed as, here it is, Furious True D receiver system, clarity without compromise. So it just comes off as a very like, this is, this is the end all be all. This is better than everything else. And so to me, when you come out firing like that and you come out with a product and you say, hey, look, it comes with this nice molded and finished product look and ready to install cleanly and stuff like that, you're taking shots, whether you think you are or not. I know you are. And that's where then I go, well, I want to see what you're about. So I got one. I paid my good hard money, and here you go. Out the box. It's so petty, I know. That nice polished, ready to whatever molded plastic. It's got shavings all around the edges, peeling off. It's the first thing I notice, and I notice it every time, and it's just annoying. But I'm just saying, I wouldn't have thought that had you not come out swinging. That's okay. Second thing I noticed, it is a little big and clunky as far as doors go, because I know how thin the doors need to be over there, but it does fit nice and clean. And I do like the nice, clean, plastic white look. It would go nicely on there and be able to be covered up with some stickers or a wrap pretty easily. But I also noticed this incredibly small window. And I say that because even on the LaForge, I can see the entire window with this crosshair sitting in front of it. But with this module, the door size or the window size on the screen is tiny. And I know how much information is there that could be critical or at least kind of mess it up or make me feel like I can't see everything. And then how deep it's recessed, it just, my initial thought was, oh no, the screen's going to be a little difficult to read at sometimes. So besides that, the unit's cool, man. Pop it out. It actually comes out of this little door thing pretty easily. Peel it out. It's two modules, and that's where you can definitely tell the difference. It is not the same module as a LaForge. The front main panel piece that the LCD is attached to, completely different. It's sandwiched in here, completely different way. It has to be, and that's because they do have two receivers in here. And I'm not going to show you the LaForge module because I don't need to. Well, what I can do is there we go. On the back side, you can tell it's not the same because there's pinholes different. The SMAs, the way the SMAs connect, you can see the 4 or 5 pieces, and they're really bigger. There's no lower connection point. That's not SMA connections there on the LaForge. So it's a completely different hardware board setup. So awesome job. They did their own kind of innovating there, all that. It does say Furious there, so you know it's their board. The receiver module is double stacked. A little more heat probably generated, but nothing that's been problematic. I'll get this LaForge out so I can put the Furious in. And we'll show you the screen. There we go. And once again, looking at the module just so you can see the difference. Definite different screen modules. Well, the screen module is pretty much the same, but the board that they sit on different. The little buttons here, the switch, the toggle, it's like a rocker and a push in. I do not like the one on the Furious. It sticks. It's hard to get that push in. Over here, the LaForge pushes in really nicely and easy and moves up and down much more free. Besides that, not a lot of problem there. So we'll put these modules back together. All right. And Module just presses right on in. Just like that. There you go. So we now have the Furios in, and we'll take a look at the screen there as it boots up. So as you can see, the screen again just much smaller, and it's recessed in there at the wrong angle. They've got too much of the bottom showing, and so the cutout is too low. It needs to be higher. It's I'm just saying, it's just funny. Even the A barely fits on the screen right there. And you can tell in the menu, I don't know if you could tell, but that top channel where it says working channel, a third of the top of the letters are actually cut off, and you have to look up to see what the top of the menu says. So, just saying, missed the mark by about that much. But the plastic is nice, man. It really is. So, to use the Triumph, what we had to do was put a 90 on it. And 90-degree adapters take signal strength away. Just saying. Then I was able to go ahead and throw on a VAS crosshair in front, which is great. But now the problem becomes, if I'm flying, I have to position myself. Even though I'm flying out here, I have to turn my head this way to have the patch being effective, or the crosshair. Now, I can mount these on a flexi adapter, but those become floppy ear hair, or floppy rabbit ears all the time, and they never stay where you want. You're in the middle of a race, the next thing you know, your picture goes whatever, and you don't know why. Then you pull your goggles off, and it's hanging here by your chin, right? It's not where you want anything hanging. So antenna position for me, key number 1, LaForge, hands down. Number 2, long-term life, LaForge, hands down. Number 3, price point, True D, it's got you. You get both modules or both diversity things for $30 less than you do a LaForge. Be able to command a VTX and use a VTX that's going to basically be paired with it, and in the future, who knows what can be able to do. It's a plus for some. For me, it's not today, but it will be in the future if I need more modules for VTXs at least. You know, again, ease of use, Furious, hands down. So they both have their pluses. They both have their negatives. I personally would support the LaForge unit for a lot of reasons, and the biggest reason just being that it fits what I want out of it. It makes it easy and good to go. Again, Bruce, get some doors for it, man. Get these things replicated and molded or something, but I think that's the only big caveat here. Nothing new, nothing special from the True D. Good unit. Used it outside with the tiny whoop. I mean, inside with the tiny whoop. Around the kind of backside of some things, and you know, things like that. The antenna positioning really came into play about me having to turn my head. Besides that, outdoors, all things being equal, both running the same antennas and both pointed in the same direction. I felt it crisper and cleaner in the LaForge, but the True D held its own, and it was an improvement over anything else other than the LaForge. And I probably, in a blind taste test, again, antennas being all the same and pointed in the right direction, I don't know that I'd be able to tell the difference. So that's my honest and truthful opinion there, guys. Unbiased as usual, CheFPV. Check out Zero Ground, my main man, 32 bits ago, man. Congratulations, number 3 in the 4A regional for multigp.com. He's headed to Nats, hopefully. Just fly safe, fly smart, fly for fun, guys. Just fly. Peace.